open. But one of the sectors that has still not been able to open fully after the lockdown is early childhood development centres, places that look after young children during the day. You go to work, you need a place to leave them, they need a place to do some education, get some food, and for a while during the lockdown, from what I understand, the Social Development Ministry simply did not respond to calls from the sector as to whether they could open. When the sector went to court, the ministry didn't oppose their application, and so they were allowed to open, but they were given very difficult guidelines to follow. Now there's also a huge funding crisis. Arno van der Merwe is the Managing Director of SA Childcare. Arno, good afternoon to you. What funding problem are you now facing in the sector? Why are you taking the Minister to court?
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, as we speak, the court is in proceedings. We are taking the Minister to court because there is subsidies that's due to ECD centres that's not being paid. And in actual fact, that the reason why it's not being paid is because they said ECD centres were closed. And now they have opened, but still we don't see that the subsidies are getting paid to the schools, and therefore they can't open, and therefore the children do not have any place to go, and therefore we are losing jobs.
Why are they not paying the subsidies? I mean, if these ECD centres are open, then surely the subsidy follows.
I agree with you. That's exactly what our point is. There is some legal and administrative issues that they are relying on to not pay it at this stage. What they are saying, the subsidies is split up in three portions. The one is for food, the one is for teaching, and the one is for administration purposes. And they're saying, well, in lockdown the schools were closed, so you can't feed the kids, so you can't teach, so we're only giving an administrative fee. And that's where the issue came in. So there was not enough funding for the schools then to reopen when on the 6th of July they were allowed to open. There was no fees to get the money or to get the PPEs ready for them to open in actual fact. So that's where we are stuck now. What we are very grateful for, the judge is, her biggest concern is the children at this stage. She has mentioned this in the court just now, saying that we need to get the kids fed. That is, to us, it's a welcoming point, and it looks positive.
Okay, so I just want to sort out the timeline in my own head here. So the centres that are open now, so let's talk about the month of September, which has just passed. Did they get their subsidies, all three subsidies, for the month of September? Is it only the earlier months that you're fighting about?
Look, I can't speak for each and every ECD centre. The ones we do have, that's part of the court case, have not received anything at all. I'm not saying some centres has not received. Maybe they did. I'm not sure about that. But the ones that we are working with did not receive anything at all. Not even the administrative subsidy. Nothing.
How important is the subsidy to the actual running of the centre? I mean, just as a rough proportion, I won't hold you to it, but a rough proportion of their income, because they'll take some money, I presume, from fees, although a lot of people won't be able to pay, of course, and they need a place to leave their children. How much of a percentage, roughly, per child is the subsidy?
It depends on your school, it depends on the ECD centre. The majority by far of the ECD centres rely solely on the subsidy. Believe it or not, it's about R17.50 per child per day. That's what they rely on to feed the kids and to get them teachers to teach them and to give them a safe environment. So if they don't receive that, the school is not opening at all.
When you talk to the ministry, and I presume to go to court you'd have had to show that you try to communicate with the ministry first. What reaction did you get?
That's a difficult one. There's always a lot of legal jargon going forth. There's a power game in what I'm thinking of. So it's difficult. It's crazy. It's madness. It doesn't even make sense. What they're saying, why it's not being paid, and what the reasons are that it's not being paid. So hopefully the judge can see the madness and then just address it.
Do you think that someone somewhere has decided schools shouldn't get this money? And I say this because, from what I understand, my memory of the early lockdown is there was just no communication during that time, and you weren't able to actually get through to the ministry to say, when can we open again?
Correct. There was no communication at all whatsoever, and that's why we decided to go the court route as well the first time over, because there was no communication to say that, look, we're planning to open you a certain date or get this and this in order, then you can open. There was really just nothing until the pressure of the first court case came, and then suddenly we started getting some correspondence, but again, no clear date of, all right, we will be able to open this and this date. So it seems as though the pressure of a court case gets them rolling, and that's why we do what we need to do to get the sector up and running, because the sector truly is in dire straits. It's critical at this stage.
I know, I mean, you will remember how important and how intense at one point the arguments around whether or not schools should open during the pandemic were. And I mean, they sort of dominated society for a time. It seems that these early learning centres, and just to be clear, the scientific evidence is that the younger the child, the less likely they are to get the coronavirus or to suffer from it. But they seem to have almost been forgotten. I mean, how important are they in our society?
It's crucial. It's one of the building blocks. If you look at research that was done, the children is the future. I mean, we know about the saying, the children is the future of our country, but indeed it's the fact. If you neglect the kids and the cognitive development, and you're neglecting your country as a whole, you're neglecting the economy going forward. So it is crucial. It is our building blocks. The ECD sector is the base of which we work for for the future, going forward, and that completely is neglected. In actual fact, it's as if though we don't exist.
Arno van der Merwe, thanks very much indeed from SA Childcare. Do appreciate the time.